response to some of these issues.
Thank you very much for the time, Sheon, and the privilege of being on your program. This is the first time I've joined you since, of course, I became SSA in 2019. I would just respond to Mr. Bola's statement by dissecting what it is he said and what it is that's true. And obviously, what he said was absolutely false. If you look at our manifesto, you would find that on page 5, for example, when we begin to open up our plans for security in the country, we made it very clear on page 5 that we are building on the foundations laid by President Muhammadu Buhari in terms of the massive armament that has been conducted under his administration over the last 7 years, not just in the Air Force with new fighter jets that were procured through government-to-government transactions with various countries, including the United States government, which was actually signed in a meeting between President Donald Trump at that time and President Muhammadu Buhari. We're not chasing mid-level bureaucrats in Washington for clout chasing or prestige chasing. We go to get things done. We go when we need to get things done. I think, on the other hand, if you look at the manifesto, you would also find on page 27, when we talked about agriculture and His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's plans for agriculture, he makes clear on page 27 that we are building on the successful foundation laid by President Muhammadu Buhari in agricultural reform in the country. We went from a situation in 2015 where we were the largest importer of rice in Africa. Today we are the largest producer of rice in Africa. We have gone from about 5 rice mills in the country to well over 30 rice mills in the country. We have invested massively in processing. We have, obviously, everybody knows through the Anchor Borrowers Program what we've done with over 1 trillion naira given out to millions of farmers across this country in low-interest capital to enable them to rapidly increase their production, not just in rice, but in wheat, cocoa, and many other staple items. If you look at the manifesto, anybody who has read the manifesto, which clearly Mr. Bola proved to the nation he did not in his statement, you would know that we're very clear about the fact that we are proud of President Muhammadu Buhari's record. What we are saying, though, is that His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, his name is not President Muhammadu Buhari. He is not President Muhammadu Buhari, and his plans are not going to be the same. What we are saying is that with the foundations that have been laid, we are now going to accelerate those reforms, and we are going to make modifications that will add value to the reforms that had already been undertaken across sectors. Now, with that said, I think it's also important to note that when you find spokespersons of a particular party always pointing fingers at somebody else and always trying to make issue innuendos and speculation about other parties, it's because they know they don't have a record to run on. They don't. Look, I have a question for anybody who sympathizes with the People's Democratic Party. It's a very simple question. Can you just tell Nigerians in the 16 years that your party had from 1999 to 2015, can you name those federal expressways, 100-kilometer federal expressways that you started construction on and you completed construction on? Can you tell us also those rail lines, the high-speed rail lines, or even the slow old colonial-era rail lines that you started rehabilitation on and finished rehabilitation on in 16 years? Can you also tell us about social investment programs that you started and saw into implementation in 16 years with double the wealth and double the time? The reason why there's no genius in PDP that can answer affirmatively to those questions is because you cannot manufacture reality. Unfortunately, their history is their history and they cannot run away from it. So what they want to do is distract the country from what they failed to do by pointing false flags and fingers at the ruling party that has a record to run on. We can tell you that we inherited 5 international airports in this country at a completion percentage of 11%. And we can tell you that by the end of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, the Port Harcourt International Airport, which was completed in 2018 and commissioned, the Abuja International Airport that was completed in 2017 and commissioned, the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos that was completed in early 2022 and commissioned into use. And then, of course, Aminu Kano in Kano is going to be commissioned, I believe, before the end of this year or in the early months of next year. And then, of course, course, the Ekano Ibiam International Airport, where we built a new 10 billion naira runway of international standard, and the new international airport terminal will also be completed.
My
point is that we have a record that we can run on that is tangible and verifiable. Challenge the PDP to name what they've done for this country.